Jane Eyre is Charlotte Bronte's most famous novel. It was published in 1847 under the name of Cora Bell, a male pseudonym used by Charlotte because in that period books written by men were more likely to have success than the ones written by women. Charlotte lived all of her life in isolation in a remote part of Yorkshire with her sisters, who were also writers, and the boundless landscape of the moors affected the settings in her works. Let's start with the plot. The novel begins with the protagonist Jane in the early years of her childhood. When she remains an orphan, she is forced to live with her aunt, Miss Reed, in Gateshead Hall. As all the other places in which she spends her life, also the name of this house is meaningful because it expresses her will to get away from that miserable reality. Miss Reed, believing Jane was a restless child, decides to send her niece to a very strict institute, Lowood School. It is an unhappy period of her life, due to the death of her dearest friend, Helen Burns, and the humiliating way she is treated by her teachers, with the exception of Miss Temple, who was the only one that actually cared about Jane. When she gets a job as a governess at Thornfield Hall, she leaves Lowood School. This is a place full of mystery and contrasting feelings. Here she falls in love with Mr. Rochester, the owner of the house. Soon they decide to get married. However, on the wedding day, the ceremony is interrupted by a mysterious man who claims that Mr. Rochester was already married. No way!
Actually, the man was right. Mr. Rochester's wife is a crazy woman whose name is Bertha Mason, and she lives secretly in the attic of Thornfield Hall. Oh, that explains why the veil of the bride was ripped apart 2 days before the wedding. When Jane finds out about it, although Mr. Rochester tried to convince her to stay and be his mistress, she refuses and she says goodbye to him. Guys, would you blame her? She moves to Moor House, where her cousin St. John proposes to her. She refuses because she sees him just as a companion and not as a lover. This place is like a rebirth for Jane, since she tries to get over her former lover. One night she hears Mr. Rochester's voice calling her, so she decides to go back to Thornfield Hall. There she finds out that the house was destroyed by a fire started by Bertha. Bertha threw herself in the flames and died. At this point, Mr. Rochester can finally marry Jane, and they move to another place, Ferndean, where they will live happily and have a child. As you may have noticed, Jane is a strong and independent woman, which was very unusual for that time. That's one of the reasons why she is such an innovative character, and her mind is split between following her principle and pursuing her heart. Jane lets us know her eventful story, and she does that with such a unique passion that makes the novel more gripping and captivating. The novel deals with different genres. It's a Victorian novel for the setting. It's a gothic mystery because there are many features that give the story a dark atmosphere. It's a romantic novel due to the role of the nature plays. Lastly, it's a coming-of-age novel because, folks, let's be honest, do we really need to explain that?
Finally, I finished my book. What if nobody likes it?
No, it's the final chapter. Reader, I married him. I can't believe they finally got married. I really love this book.